One of the things that is important to remember when we talk about stress and dealing with stress and managing stress is the power of our perception. But beyond just our perception, beyond the lens through which we view a situation, another thing that's important to consider is our ability to look at things or situations through somebody else's eyes, through somebody else's perspective. It's so important for us to be able to get into somebody else's perspective, their mind, how they may be experiencing the situation, how they may be viewing the situation, because oftentimes that will allow us to see a situation from more than just one narrow point of view, our own. And when we're able to see a situation, something that happened, way somebody acted from a different point of view, that can make it easier for us to understand the situation itself or the behavior itself or the person themselves. And that can lead to things like understanding and compassion. And having compassion for others, be that other people or animals, or an understanding of situations, can be tremendously helpful to us when it comes to our own perception of what is happening, our own perception of a situation, our own perception of how to deal with things, how to receive what is happening, how to interpret what is happening, which can be tremendous when we're talking about managing our own stress. If you can see that something that happened, something that somebody else did, through another person's perspective, through another person's eyes, and you can identify things like, this wasn't done on purpose, this wasn't done maliciously, the person is genuinely remorseful because of it, the person is genuinely regretful of what happened, or what they did, or what they said, or the situation at hand. It can make it easier for you to deal with that situation, and it can ease your own stress surrounding that situation. Plus, it can make the exchange between you and that other person a different exchange, an easier exchange, less stressful, maybe less aggressive or less negative exchange. So it's so important that we are able to look beyond just this narrow point of view that we all have. And look, this is real. This is part of life. Everybody has that. You're not alone in that. I'm not alone in that. We all have our own point of view because that's how it is. That's part of being an individual. But it's so important that we can look at different situations, different behaviors, different whatever, through not only a different lens from our own point of view, but also through the eyes of someone else, and have the ability to have an understanding, have compassion, have a way of expanding our point of view in that sense. So as you go through life, as I go through life, as we all go through life, it's so important that we're able to step back when we are in the middle of something, experiencing somebody else's behavior that we may not be enjoying or we may not approve of. We're in the middle of a stressful situation. Step back as much as you can. And by that I mean push yourself to really step back and try to understand what happened. What is the reason for what happened? What is the reason for why something is happening? I'm not saying to agree with everything that somebody else is doing or saying or the situation that happened. I'm not saying to enjoy it. I'm not saying to condone it. I'm saying be able to step out of your one way of looking at things, a very narrow, only way of seeing a situation or a behavior or a person, so that you can have a broader understanding of what's happening, and so that you're able to show compassion when appropriate. And showing compassion can be as simple as not reacting. It can be as simple as biting your tongue, holding your tongue in terms of making a negative comment or saying something hurtful or mean. It could be that simple. That could be a way of showing compassion. Of course, you can take it a step further, and compassion could mean trying to help the other person, trying to actually help the situation. Or it could be not a person, it could be an animal, it could be, we could be referring to a situation. Whatever. It could be a group of people. The idea is to step out of our narrow way of looking at things, our only one way of looking at things, so that we can help ourselves and help the situation and maybe help the other person, and by extension help to reduce our own stress. When we have multiple ways of looking at things, when we are able to see things from other people's perspective, when we are able to be compassionate towards a person or an animal or a situation, we then gain the ability to see things differently, to interpret and digest things differently, if you will. We then gain the ability to not be so stressed out. And that's what this is all about. When we are so rigid that we can't see something from another person's perspective, or that we can't imagine that maybe what happened wasn't done maliciously or intentionally, then we really are stuck in a very negative, very pitiful way of existing. It's about broadening our ability to interpret things and behaviors and situations so that we're not stuck in this one way of looking at things. So I invite you to consider how you respond to things and people and animals and situations. Make sure that you are able to go with the flow, that you're able to show compassion, that you're able to view things from other perspectives, that you're able to have an understanding beyond your standard go-to, so that you're not just having knee-jerk reactions that are effectively ruling you and are in charge of you and are effectively dictating the amount of stress in your life, but rather choose to respond versus react. Choose to be in charge of your own self. And by extension, you then improve the other person's experience. You improve the situation, hopefully. And you are no longer the slave to your own reactions and to your own stress, but rather the master of how to respond to your own environment. So remember, being able to look at things and people and behaviors and situations and animals, whatever the case may be, in different ways, allows you to gain control of yourself gain control of the situation and gain control of the stress in your life. And after all, isn't that what our goal is? To make sure that we manage stress in a way that doesn't allow it to manage us. If you'd like to learn more about effective and comprehensive stress management, check out the link below.